So, yan guys, once again, good day sa ating lahat. Sorry for ang daming tawag dito, ang daming ganap. So, unfortunately, hanggang video record na lang siguro tayo. I hope maintindihan, manuot sa inyong utak na uh, I hope pagdating ng exam, mga maalala nyo sila. Okay? So, huwag natin sayangin ang effort ko since mahirap din po magturo dire-diretso sa ang tawag dito sa internet. Okay? So I hope, ayan, kahit matulugan nyo man ito, ipopost nyo lang tapos pag may time na magigising kayo o panoorin nyo ulit. Hindi, panoorin lang ha. Panoorin na kasabay ng pag-intindi. Okay? So ayan, once again, good day. So this is our prelim coverage. Medyo mahaba-haba pa. Pero more on history siya. So, kailangan alalahanin niyo yung mga dates, a year, names. Kasi mostly yun naman ang kailangan niyo alalahanin. Ang dami kasi ng ng prelim coverage. So, yan. Yan. Let's review, di ba? We have our intuitive period, the medieval period, which is, di ba, ang nagkukos ng mga sakit is by the evil spirits. So, mga doktor nila doon is shaman, mga ritual spell, mentrefini, yung bubutasan yung skull mo para daw lumabas ng evil spirit. So, usually sa Egyptian, ang alam ko nila sa nursing is all about embalming, the anatomy and physiology, di ba? Pag sa India, tinatawag nilang shushuruto, yung mga kababaihan. Then sa Roma, yan yung first hospital na dinonate po ng isang rich woman, okay? Which is pinangalanan niyang Fabiola. So yeah, we're done with the intuitive period. Next, we have the period of apprentice nursing or Middle Ages. So it is performed without any formal education, developed by religious orders of the Christian Church. So we have the Crusaders. Sino mga Crusaders? We have religious military group that established hospital staff with men. So most of them are men. Okay? Knights of St. John of Jerusalem. So mas kilala siya sa Knights Hospitalers. Okay? Then Knights of Lazarus. Usually nursing care for lepers or yung tinatawag natin ketong, di ba? Kung ano yung sakit ni Lazaro noong unang panahon, yan yung ginawa po nila. Kasi yan yung panahunahang sakit noon sa panahon po nila. Ketong or leper. Okay, Knights of Saint Lazarus. So, we have to remember also the important nursing responsibility personalities in this period. So, dito natin makikita kung sino ba talaga ang First Lady with the lamp. Okay, so Saint Clare of Assisi, founder of the Second Order of Saint Francis of Assisi. Usually, first is Francis and the next is Saint Clare of Assisi. So, usually took vows to poverty, obedience, service, and chastity. Okay, and then next we have Saint Elizabeth of Hungary, the patroness of nurses, di ba? Social. Patroness of nurses. She was wealthy but devoted her life to building hospitals for the sick, feeding 300 to 900 people a day. See, Saint Elizabeth po yun. And then we have Saint Catherine of Siena. Sino si Saint Catherine of Siena? She is the first lady with a lamp. Okay? Siya po talaga yung kauna-unahang First Lady with the lamp. So, they called her Little Saint kasi she pledged her life to service at the age of 7. Okay? And was referred to as Little Saint. And she was a hospital nurse, a prophetess, researcher, and reformer. Okay, so usually Theodore Fliedner and his wife Frederica established the Kaiserwerth Institute for the training of deaconess, the first formal training nursing for nurses in Germany. Usually 3 months lang in-nurse ka na. So, dyan nag-enroll po si Florence Nightingale sa school na ginawa po ni Theodore Fliedner and his wife Federica. Okay? They call it Kaiserwerth Institute for the Training of Deaconess. The first formal training school for nurses in Germany. So, diyan nag-aral si Florence Nightingale. She pursued her 3-month course of study in nursing and nag-start na po siya mag-serve sa community. Then, let's move sa ating dark period. Sino nga ba si Charles Dickens' novel Martin Chuzzlewit? So, siya po ay personified the negative image of nurses that time with the character Sadie Gump. Okay? So, usually, nung dark period, medyo bumagsak ang nursing era. Kasi nga, alam naman nila yung kalakaran daw ng mga nurses daw ay ganyan, ganyan. Basta maraming siyang marites noon. Okay. So, 100 hospitals closed. There was no provision for the sick. No one to care for the sick. Kasi nga, walang may gusto dahil sa chismis, di ba? Shortage of people to care for the sick. Okay, so, let's begin with the Crimean War, di ba? Diyan natin nakilala si Nightingale kasi na-recruit siya ni Sir Sidney Herbert of the British War Department. So, Nightingale introduced and promoted sanitary practices which lowered the mortality rate from 42% to 2% in just 6 months. Imagine, kaya nga tinawag siyang, di ba? Lady with the Lamp. Kasi devoted siya that time sa Crimean War. Mag-isa niya lang. Okay? Though meron siguro siyang mga alalay, pero siya yung talagang civilized as nurse, di ba? That time. So, kaya napansin nyo yung theory ni Florence Nightingale. Kasi yan, no? Sanitary practices. Okay. So, under American Civil War, we have Harriet Tubman, the Moses of the people. Bakit siya tinawag na the Moses of the people? Because he provide care to the slaves at the Underground Railroad. Okay. And then Sojourner Truth, working Underground Railroads and women right advocate. And then si Dorothea Dix is established the nursing corps of the U.S. Army. And then si Clara Barton, founder of the American Red Cross. After the dark period of nursing, we have the period of educated nursing. Dito na po nag-start ang education ng nursing with the proper management. Okay? So we have the trends resulting from wars, which is the Crimean War, the Civil War, then the arousal of social consciousness and increased educational opportunities offered to women. Okay? Kasi women talaga yung nakakaano pa sa care noon because the guys or the male is engaged to wars. Crimean na pala. Basta Crimean War yan, guys. Kasi ang women mas engaged sa mga care, unlike sa mga male, mas engaged po sila sa mga war. Okay? So, in 1860, the Nightingale Training School of Nurses opened at St. Thomas Hospital in London. Okay, nag-aral si Nightingale sa Germany, pero tinayo niya po yung St. Thomas Hospital in London by the year 1860. Okay. Yan. The school served as a model for the other training schools. Its graduates traveled to other countries to manage hospitals and institute nurse training programs. So, palipat-lipat siya. Nightingale focused vision of nursing Nightingale system was more on developing the profession within hospitals. Nurses should be taught in hospitals associated with medical schools and that the curriculum should include both theory and practice. It was the first school of nursing that provided both theory-based knowledge and clinical skill building. And nursing evolved as an art and science. Yan po nakilala. Nursing is an art, nursing is a science. Di ba? Is a science, I mean. Formal nursing education and nursing service began in this period, 19th to 20th century. Kasi may proper study na, di ba? So, what are the facts about Florence Nightingale? So, modern nursing, mas nakilala siya sa modern nursing. Kung si Saint, anong pangalan kanina nung Saint na First Lady with the Lamp? Her name was Saint Catherine of Siena. Catherine, okay? First Lady with the Lamp. Pero si Nightingale, mother of modern nursing, Lady with the Lamp because of her achievements in improving the standards for the care of war casualties in Crimean War. So, she was born May 12, 1800s in Florence, Italy. Kaya nga, Florence Nightingale siguro pinangalan, no? And raised in England in an atmosphere of cultural affluence and not contented with the social custom imposed upon her as a Victorian lady, she developed her self-appointed goal to change the profile of nursing. She compiled notes of her visits to hospitals and her observation, para siyang DOH. Diba? The noted need for preventive medicine and good nursing. They advocate for care of those afflicted with diseases caused by the lack of hygienic practices. Kaya nga, napansin nga sanitary practices, environmental. Okay. Then, at the age of 31, she entered the Deaconess School of Castleworth. Ayan yung kila Sir Theodore Lidner and his wife, Frederica. In spite of her family's resistance, ayaw ng family niya po na mag-nurse siya. Ayaw niya family na aalis siya. Pero yung heart niya tumulong sa iba, kaya niya pinursu yung school na yon. She became a nurse over the objections of society and her family. Worked as a superintendent for Gentle Women Hospital, a charity hospital for ill governess. Then disapproved the restriction on admission of patients and considered this unchristian and incompatible with health care. So put down her ideas in 2 published books. Ano yung nurse books yan? Notes on nursing, what it is, and what it is not, and notes on hospitals.
Templo, Falguera. Tama ba ako? Pakisabihan niyo ako kung medyo nalagpasan ko kayo mga
Okay. She revolutionized the public's perception of nursing, not the image of a doctor's handmaiden, and the method for educating nurses. So, ang dami talagang ni Florence Nightingale. Kaya siya kinilala bilang mother of modern nursing, the lady with the law. Diba? Pero alam natin talaga si Florence yung una sa lady with the law. Pero ang pinakauna talaga si Saint Catherine of Siena. So, in the period of contemporary nursing, the 20th century, licensure of nurses started. Diyan na yung may board exam, di ba? NCLEX sa Amerika, di ba? So, specialization of hospital and diagnosis. Hindi ka makapag-duty without the training, di ba? You have to complete your 4 years, di ba? BSM, Bachelor of Science in Nursing. Ayan, baccalaureate, di ba? Then, kailangan bago pumasok sa mga special ward, kailangan yung training. Di ba? Kailangan natin alamin yung mga kalakaran ng ating nursing. Yan. With the use of technologies din, mga computers, kailangan natin alamin yan. Then, sino nga ba si WHO? Dapat din yung kalimutan. Si World Health Organization was established by the UN or United Nations. And the DOH, pag nasa Pilipinas, Department of Health. Okay? So, these are the milestones of nursing theory. So, in the year of 300 after death of Christ, entry of women in nursing. Then, in the year of 1100 to 1200s, we have charities institution, start na. And then, the year 1633, we have first educational program. And then, in the year of 1809, we have Daughters of Charity. 9 years old pa lang si Nightingale dyan kasi pinanganak siya ng 1800s. Okay? So, let me add this other facts. Kasi kanina mga pinag-usapan natin India, Egyptian.
Yeah, okay ka na?
O, diba? Ongoing pa yung online class ko. Okay, guys. Babylonia, they are known as, banggit ko naman ata to. Ay, hindi. Sa inyo, hindi pa. So, Babylonia with the Code of Hammurabi, Bill of Rights. And Yan, di ba yung it was established by King Hammurabi. Okay? Then Moses, the father of sanitation or circumcision. Materia Medica is published by the China Book of Pharmacology. And then Caduceus sa Greeks. Okay? Insignia of medical profession. And last, we have the Hippocrates or the father of scientific medicine. Okay. So, let's move on sa ating history of nursing in the Philippines. Philippines sa tayo kanina internationally, okay? So, in Philippines, the early beliefs and practices is diseases were attributed to another person or witch, mangkukulang, and evil spirits, di ba? Usually, word doctors, the priest, kailangan matanggal yung exorcism, yan. Mga albularyo, sinasabi natin, herbularios or herbicheros. Kung herbolarios is herb doctors who use leaves or roots, herbicheros use herbs and crafts, di ba? And then, mabuting hilot or good midwife assisted in labor. Okay? So, iba-ibang klase ang ano natin, no? Early beliefs and practices. So, during the Spanish regime, Hospital Real de Manila is founded by former Governor Francisco de Sande, established the care for the Spanish soldiers and civilians. And then we have the San Lazaro Hospital, founded by Bro Juan Clemente, built exclusively for patients with leprosy. San Lazaro Hospital, di ba? Then Hospital de Indio, established by the Franciscan order that catered to the Indios. And then si Josephine Bracken, kung maalala nyo, kung napanood nyo na yung history ni Rizal, siya po ay asawa ni Rizal. Kasi hindi ko talaga siya makalimutan dahil pinanood ko yung buhay ni Rizal, ganyan. Kasi nga part noon ng subject ko noon is Rizal, kaya yan. It's installed a hospital in a field house in Tejero. And Doña Hilaria de Aguinaldo, asawa po ni Emilio Aguinaldo, who organized the Filipino Red Cross under the inspiration of Apolinario Mabini. And we have the Malolos, Bulacan, National Headquarters for Philippine Red Cross. And Doña Maria Agoncillo de Aguinaldo, second wife of Aguinaldo, who became the first president of Red Cross. Okay? Kung si Doña Hilaria de Aguinaldo ang nag-organize under the inspiration of Apolinario Mabini, si Doña Maria Agoncillo de Aguinaldo naman ang pangalawang asawa ay naging first president of Red Cross. And then si Melchor Aquino and Gabriela sila angels of battlefield. Sila po naging nurse nung time po ng war. Bakit di kayo sinali dun sa Maria Clara? Diba? So sila po ang first nurses that time. Then Trinidad Texon, ina ng Biak na Bato, stayed in the hospital in Biak na Bato to care for the soldiers. For angels of battlefield, si Melchor Aquino, Gabriela Silang, and Trinidad Texon, ina ng Biak na Bato. Okay, so what are the first hospitals with School of Nursing here in the Philippines? We have the Iloilo Mission Hospital School of Nursing. Makikita ito sa Haro, Iloilo, established by the year of 1906. And then, sunod-sunod na, no, after 1906, we have the Philippine General Hospital School of Nursing, 1907. St. Paul's Hospital School of Nursing, Manila, 1907. Kaya nandiyan po ang ating mga facilities ng St. Paul's. Hindi lang po nasa Manila, meron na din po sa Tugigaraw. Okay. St. Luke's Hospital School of Nursing, Quezon City, we have 1907. And then Mary Johnston Hospital and School of Nursing, 1907. Then, what are the first colleges of nursing? May mga Bachelor of Nursing, Bachelor of Science in Nursing, UST, matagal na po yun actually. Pero isa lang branch nila. Kasi nga, yan yung kanunahang hospital po kanunahang first College of Nursing. So, UST is 1946. Manila Central University College of Nursing, 1947. UP, okay, University of Philippines, College of Nursing, 1948. Okay? Sunod-sunod ako, 1946, 1947, 1948. Okay, kaya huwag kayong malito, ha? Bigyan nyo sila ng linya para alam nyo. So, who are the nursing leaders in the Philippines? Okay, most of them ay babae, bibira lang mga lalaki. Pero meron na din mga lalaki that time. So, Anastasia Hiron Topas, First Chief Nurse Superintendent. Ito, Superintendent. Founder and first President of Philippine Nurses Association or PNA. Then we have Cesaria Tan, first Filipino to receive master's degree in nursing abroad. Okay, mayaman siguro siya kasi nakapag-abroad pa eh. Then next we have Socorro Sirilan, pioneered in hospital social service in San Lazaro Hospital. Ross Militar, pioneered in school health education. We have Socorro Diaz, first editor of the PNA magazine called The Message. Conchita Ruiz, first editor of the newly named magazine The Filipino Nurse. Loreto Tupas, Dean of the Philippine Nursing. Eufenia Gomez Tan, the first BON, Board of Nursing Chairman. Okay? And then June 1920, first board exam for nursing. So don't forget their names as well as their roles in nursing leaders in the Philippines. June 1920, the first board exam for nursing with the top notcher, si Dana Dalgen, with a percentage of 93.5%. Then, board examinees Anastasia Hiron Tupas and Dr. Julian Cabanos, DILG agency who administered the exam. Then, who are the Florence Nightingales of the Philippines? We have in Manila, Julieta Solejo. And in Iloilo, si Loreto Tupas. Ayan, ano bang ni Dean of the Philippine Nursing? Dean po siya dati, pero isa din pala siyang Florence Nightingale ng Pilipinas. And we have the Josefa Ilianes Escoda, Philippines. Baka sa Manila lang yan. Okay? Hindi kasi ini-specify kung saan, no? So, that's all for our period of nursing. Ayan. In the Philippines. So, let's move on sa ating next topic. Okay. Sinamarize ko na mga bunso. Super haba kasi ng prelim coverage. Okay. Next, we have our communication skills. Okay. Therapeutic communication is one of the most effective tool in providing nursing care to patients. Kasi nga, pag galit ka nagsalita, with attitude ka nagsalita, Karen sa ibang bansa eh. Karen ka magsalita or mukha kang marites sa paningin nila, wala pa silang tiwala sa'yo, hindi sila mag-o-open sa'yo, mawawalan sila ng gana magsabi sa'yo ng kanilang problema. Okay, kaya professional nurse must have good communication skills to become effective and to establish rapport with the patient. Okay. Ito yung tinatawag natin TERACOM, therapeutic communication. Okay. You will bring it from first year until maging nurse ka po hanggang i-apply mo na siya sa trabaho mo. Okay, kaya TERACOM, therapeutic communication. So communication is the process of exchanging information, thought, ideas, and feelings from one individual to another. It's a two-way process by which a message is passed from the sender to the receiver with the objective that message sent it, received, and understood as intended. Okay? So what are the kinds of communication? We have social communication, structured communication, and therapeutic communication. So first, pag sinabi natin social communication, it is the unplanned communication that gives satisfaction to patients and families. It is often carried out while caring for the patient and family. For example, nag-uusap kayo ng pasyente about the procedure. Di ba yung ginagawa yung sa rep din? I will perform hand washing to prevent cross-contamination. Di ba? Explain mo. We have to do the hand washing, ma'am, for us to prevent any entering of disease or bacteria in our bodies. Di ba? Yan yung social communication. Then, how about the structured communication? Pag sinabi natin structured, It is a planned communication. Kasi, for example, tuturuan natin silang magtusok ng insulin, di ba? Since he or she has diabetes, so sabi sa management, sa kanyang medication, kailangan magtusok ng insulin. So, since structured na plano, kasi di ba social unplanned, structured is planned. So, sa pagpaplanuhin mo, kausapin yung pasyente, ito po yung mga bagay na gagawin nyo, tuturuan nyo siya ng insulin injection. Okay, yan yung planned communication. And then, how about therapeutic communication? Ito rin sinasabi kong Theracom. It is either unplanned or planned that are used by nurses in many situations to relieve anxiety and fear of patient. For example, cancer patient ang pasyente mo, end stage niya na. Okay? Kailangan tanggalin mo yung yung takot niya. Alam nating nakakatakot yung kamatayan, pero may better plan si God kung bakit nangyayari ito sa buhay mo. Kung Christian man siya, di ba? Bibigyan mo siya ng relief. Okay? Palakasin mo yung loob niya, di ba? God will, for example, kung Christian ka, like me, di ba? Advise mo yung patient mo na may better plan si God kung bakit nangyari ito sa life mo. Ayan. Mga bagay talaga na kailangan natin intindihin. Yan. Alagaan ang sarili. Ganyan. Basta yun. Therapeutic communication, unplanned or planned. Okay? Na, para lang ma-relieve mo yung anxiety, fear ng patient mo. Okay? Yan ang therapeutic communication. So, next, we have the basic elements of communication process. First, we have the sender and encoder. Pag sinabi natin the sender or encoder, first, sa sender muna. The communication process begins with the person known as the sender. Okay, person. For example, ako nagsasalita. Ako ay sender nyo. Okay? Ako ang sender nyo. Kasi kayo ang makikinig eh. Okay? So, generates a message. Messages stem from a person's need to relate to others. Ako nga yun, di ba? Sender. Nire-relate ko tong topic sa inyo. So, yan yung tinatawag natin sender. That's what we call sender. Amen. Wawala na tayo. Then, encoder encoding means translating the message into verbal or non-verbal symbols by gestures. Di ba? Pag galit, dapat galit ang mukha ako. Pag masaya, masaya yung mukha ko. Yan yung encoding that will communicate the intended message to the receiver. Okay? Then next, after the sender or encoder, we have the message. Ano ang message? It is a stimulus produced by a sender responded to by a receiver. Receiver, kayo ang receiver. Kayo ang tumatanggap ng message ko. Since I am the sender, okay? Sender with encoder, okay? Facial expression by the act. And then I am delivering this message since you are the receiver. Okay? So, yan yon. Then, we have the channel. Okay? The channel is the medium through which a message is transmitted. Okay? Visual, auditory, and artistic. Ayan yung natin sa channel. Okay? Para lang TV yan, guys. Di ba? Ako, nakikita yon, naka-black po ako. Ano ang facial expression ko. Di ba? Well, that's the channel. Okay? So, what are the mode of transmission? We have visual or sight and observation. Pag visual, ano yung nakikita? Auditory, hearing, ano yung naririnig niyo sa mga sinasabi ko? Kinesthetic or procedural touch. Di ba? Ano yung mga gestures na ginagawa ko? That's the channel. Then, the receiver or the decoder. The receiver is you guys. Kayo mga student. Kasi nire-receive niyo yung tinatanggap niyo yung mga sinasabi ko. Kung ano mga sinasabi ko, iniintindi nyo. Dinedecode nyo, iniintindi nyo. Okay? Then feedback is the information the sender receives about the receiver's reaction to the message. Feedback. Ano ang message nyo sa aking explanation? Kung may hindi kayo naintindihan, you will ask. That's the feedback. Okay. So let's move on. Modes or forms of communication. So we have verbal communication and non-verbal communication. So let me start with the verbal communication. Pag verbal communication, the spoken and or written words are the most frequent modes for conveying information, one's ideas, thoughts, and feelings to others. For example, spoken words are face-to-face meeting, recording messages on stage like this, nire-record ko yung sarili ko so that I can to deliver the message to you, which is the receiver, diba? Telephoning or radio and television. Oh. And then placement of words into phrases and sentences that are understandable to both speaker and listener gives an order and a meaning to these symbols. Okay, so we have the content and context under verbal communication. Pag sinabi natin content, it is the verbal communication, the literal words that a person speaks. Kung ano yung sinasabi ko. That's the content. Content. Okay? Pag sinabi ko naman context. Context is the environment in which communication occurs and can include the time and the physical, social, emotional, cultural environment. According to Weaver 1996, it is also includes the circumstances or parts that clarify the meaning of the content of the message. Okay? Environment in which communication occurs, sabi naman sa context. Kung content is the literal words, how about context, the environment in which communication occurs? Okay, that's the part of verbal communication. And how about in non-verbal communication? Non-verbal communication is the behavior that accompanies verbal context, such as a body language, a eye contact, facial expression, tone of voice, speed and hesitations in speech, grunts and groans, and distance from the listener. Okay, non-verbal communication, kahit diba, hindi ka nagsasalita pero malungkot ka, ay, this person is sad. Okay? She feels anxiety, di ba? Stress. Nakikita mo yung mukha, di ba? Hindi na maipinta. Okay? Non-verbal communication can indicate a speaker's thoughts, feelings, needs, and values that the speaker acts out, mostly unconsciously. So, we have the process in under non-verbal. Pag sinabi natin process, denotes all non-verbal messages that the speaker uses to give meaning and context to the message, diba? Bawat galaw, bawat kinikilos, bawat facial expression na binibigay ng ating sender, you have to process it through the non-verbal communication. Ay, yung tao, galit. Ay, yung tao, masaya. Ay, yung tao, gusto i-express na mabuti yung kanyang karanasan. That's the process under non-verbal communication. And then next, we have level of communication. Pag sinabi natin level of communication, we have intra, inter, personal, and the group level. Okay? So, when we said intrapersonal level, it is consists of the messages one sends to oneself, including self-talk or communication with oneself. Kaya nga intra, para sa akin, okay? A person receiving internal or external messages organizes, interprets, and assigns meaning to the messages. Intra is oneself, okay? Pag sinabi ko naman interpersonal is the process that occurs between two people, okay? Dalawa, face-to-face encounters over the telephone, over the online. So, interpersonal level. Basta it consists of two. Okay? Kung si intra is one, sorry po. If the intra is oneself, interpersonal is two. Pag group, it occurs when 3 or more people meet in face-to-face. Ayan na yung as a group. Usually, group level po ang ating communication level, guys. Kasi nga, me versus all of you. Okay? Marami tayo. So, ayan ang ating level of communication. So, ito na po yung sasabi kong TERACOM. Therapeutic communication is an interpersonal interaction between the nurse and client. Okay? 1:1 ha, hindi nurse. Wala pa tayo sa nurse with the community. Okay? So, it is an interpersonal interaction between two. Di ba? Pag sinabi natin interpersonal, two. Di ba? Kasi pag group, more. Okay, so which nurse focuses on the client's specific needs to promote an effective exchange of information. So it is establishing a therapeutic relationship is one of the most important responsibilities of the nurse when working with clients. Communication is the means by which a therapeutic relationship is initiated, maintained, and terminated. Di ba nga kaya nga pag nagpa-perform tayong RET-DEN, kailangan ayusin din natin yung panghuli natin na I will discard my thing, I will document, and I will perform hand hygiene and document the procedure. Ganun tayo mag-terminate. Hindi yung, ma'am, tapos na po. Okay? Most of you guys, I know you are practicing pa lang naman, kaya nga meron tayong RET-DEMS para pinapractice yung skills natin. Okay? So, what are the characteristics of therapeutic communication? First, we have is purposeful and goal-directed, or has well-defined boundaries. Is the client focused? Is non-judgmental? Or uses well-planned selected techniques. Ayan ang Teracom natin, guys. Kailangan bawal tayo judgmental. Dapat may purpose tayo. Dapat lahat ng masasabihin natin ay may kakahinatnan. Ang focus lang ang client, hindi ibang tao, di ba? Kailangan bago ka harap sa pasyente, dapat nakapagplano ka na in advance. Okay? So what are the principles of therapeutic interaction? First, you have to plan to interview at an appropriate time. Usually, set po tayo ng visiting hours sa patient. Hindi po yung bigla-bigla, hello po sir, ako po yung ano. Ngayon, okay? Kailangan magplano tayo. During your visiting hours, during change of shift, kailangan sasabihin nyo kailan ka meron, kailan mo isa-set yung mga meetings kasi ito yung mga open, ito yung available time, parang ganun. No, so you have to plan to interview at an appropriate time. And then, ensure privacy na hindi, as a patient rights na hindi pwedeng lumabas yung kanila issue or problems. Kaya nga, confidential kasi pag nilabas mo yung kanyang privacy, pwede ka pong kasuhan ng patient. And then we have established guidelines for the therapeutic interaction. Okay? The nurse should share certain information such as the nurse's name and affiliation para makilala ka naman ng patient mo para, ay, ito mapagkakatiwalaan ko to. Okay? So, kaya bigyan din natin silang guidelines for the therapeutic interaction din. Then next, we have provide for comfort during the interaction. Okay? Para po ma-ease yung kanilang anxiety or fear. Then, accept the client exactly as he is. Okay? Di ba sabi ko nga sa inyo, walang mahirap, walang mayaman, walang educated, not educated, criminal man yan. Dapat pantay-pantay pa rin po yung trato natin sa kanila. And then, encourage spontaneity. Okay, ano po yun, guys? Then, nurse gathers more data. Hindi lang po dahil kung ano yung nandun lang sa kodigo mo na questions, yun lang. Dapat palawakin mo pa yun. Okay? And then, focus on the leads and cues presented by the client. Okay? Kailangan lahat ng question, lahat ng follow-up question is in line with dun sa sinasabi ng patient. Hindi yung nandito, tapos biglang tatalon doon sa bundok, parang ganon. Hindi pwede, hindi siya in line, tapos biglang babalik ka na naman, wag ganon. Okay? Kailangan dire-diretso in line siya. And then, encourage the expression of feelings. And be aware of one's own feelings during the interaction. Okay? So, yan yung mga principles sa ating Teracom. So, these are the privacy and respecting boundaries. Guys, dapat alam nyo tong proxemics mamaya, ha? Yung gaano kayo kalayo, okay? So, privacy is desirable but not always possible in therapeutic communication. An interview or conference room is optimal if the nurse believes this setting is not too isolated for the interaction. The nurse also can talk with the client at the end of the hall or in a quiet corner of the room or lobby depending on the physical layout of the setting. Usually, pag nagteterakong tayo, kailangan maglagay pa rin tayo ng boundaries between us and the patient. It's either para lang po magkaroon ng ang tawag dito, baka mamaya makaso tayo ng sexual assault, ganyan. Okay, kasi lalo na pa sa mga sa mga Muslims, okay? Simpleng touch lang kasi prohibited sa kanila. So kailangan meron tayong sinusunod na proxemics, okay? So pasok na tayo sa proxemics para alam nyo kung ano yung mga yan. Okay, pag proxemics, sinasabi natin proxemics, ito yung distance zone between you and the patient, okay, during the communication. Kasi mas komportable yung pasyente, alam mo yung super dikit, di ba? Para magkikis na kayo, hindi ganun, guys. Okay? Pag super lapit, baka mamaya sasabihin, ang weird naman ng taong ko. Di ba? Gaganon ka nung pasyente. Ay, baka mamanyakin ako ng taong ko. Hindi ganun, guys, no? Ayan yun. Distance zone ang proxemics, ha? Okay, so pag sinabi natin intimate zone, 0 to 18. Nabura ka nung nakaraan. 0 to 18 inches between people. So, this amount of space is comfortable for parents with young children, desire personal contact, or people whispering, okay? Para maiwasan. Kasi, for example, kahit di naman natin siya pinag-uusapan, nagbubulungan, di ba? Mamaya isipin niya, pinag-uusapan yun, ayoko na dito. Di ba? So, that's the intimate zone. So, it is applicable sa ating mga parents with their younger children, or the desire personal contact, or any people whispering. Okay? Para maiwasan lang na ganyan, di ba? May chichismisa, nagmamaritesa. Okay? Minsan may maling akala tayo, pero di talaga maiwasan yan. Di ba? Mga ganyan ako minsan, pag nagbubulungan sila, feeling ko ako pinag-uusapan. Ganyan kasi ako minsan. Okay? That's the intimate, okay? Open sa mga parents with their younger child. How about personal zone? 18 to 36 inch. Okay? This distance is comfortable between family and friends who are talking. Family and friends who are talking, ha? Personal zone, family and friends. How about social zone? 4 to 12 feet. Very close na. Ay, feet na yan, guys. Hindi na inches, ha? Social zone is 4 to 12 feet. Social distance. The distance is acceptable for communication in social, work, and business settings. Ayun yung nakapabilog, di ba, usually. Then lastly, we have the public zone, 12 to 25 feet. Yan kalayo. Bakit po? This is an acceptable distance between a speaker and an audience. Di ba? Speaker, para makita ko lahat, no? Mga dinideliveran ko ng message ko. Yan yung public zone, 12 to 25 feet. Then, we have the touch. Okay, may boundaries din po tayo sa pag-touch. Okay. Mamaya ibang touch kasi mamaya natin. Touch yung client can be comforting and supportive when it is welcome and permitted. Kung okay lang, di ba? Parang, lola, di ba? Lolo, ading, ganyan. Pero meron kasi instances na, lalo na yan, pag yung religion nila, di ba? Ay, yan, di ba? Huwag mo pakakasuhan kita ng sexual assault. Di ba? So, kailangan may distance pa rin, di ba? The nurse should observe the client for cues that show if touch is desired or indicated. Di ba? Kung umiiyak siya, sir, wag na, ay ma'am, wag ka na po umiyak. Di ba? Kailangan alam din natin yung distance natin by using our touch. So, boundaries. So, actually, according to NAP, in the year of 1980, identified 5 types of touch. Okay? 5 types, sabi niya. Pero 4 types of touch o nakaano dito, A, B, C, D. Okay? So, first, we have functional and then the social, friendship, and love. Pag sinabi nating functional, it is a professional touch. Ayan. For example, assessment, di ba? You have to gather your objectives. So, that's the functional. And then the social, polite touch, di ba? Polite touch is used in greetings such as handshake and the air kiss. Diba? Some women used to greet acquaintances or when a gentle hand. For example, diba? Hug, ganyan kami. Pag nakikita yung tropa ko. Then next, we have the C. Hmm? Okay? Pag sinabi natin friendship, warm touch, ayan, friendship or warm touch. Okay? Touch involves a hugging, greeting. Oh, actually, dito sa friendship na yun. Ang social kasi is greeting or handshake. Okay? Pag friendship is the hug, ano pa, an arm thrown around, di ba? Akbayin. Then, backslapping. Usually sa mga lalaki, bro, di ba? Pinapalo. Friendship. Oh, so yan yung warm touch. And D, we have the love, intimacy touch. Involves tight hugs and kisses between lovers or close relatives. Okay? Iba yung love. Di ba? Okay. And then, actually, yung panglimang touch is more on sexual arousal touch is used by the lovers. So, decline yun, di ba? Nasa teracom po tayo, papasok mo yung Diyos ni. Okay, ibang teracom na yung best. Okay, let's move on sa ating active listening and observation. So, when we tell active listening means refraining from other internal mental activities and concentrating exclusively on what the client says. Active observation means watching the speaker's nonverbal action as he or she communicates. So, active listening, internal mental activities and concentrating exclusive on what the client says. Active observation, watching, di ba? Kung si listening is refraining, observation is watching. Okay? So, active listening and observation help the nurse to recognize the issue that is most important to the client at this time. Okay? Dapat lagi kayo attentive pag ganito ang case natin, guys. Hindi yung, di ba, kinakausap ka ng pasyente, tapos si friend mong nurse is nagmamarites, ano yung ulit tay? Di ba? Wag ganun, guys. You have to become active listener and active observer. Para mas mabilis mong maintindihan yung sinasabi ng pasyente mo, di ba? For example, pag di mo, pakiulit nga po, sir. Diba? And we have the empathy. Ano ba empathy, guys? It is the ability to place oneself into the experience of another, okay? Ano mo siya, ano tawag dito? Compare, parang ganon. Diba? Nurses develop empathy by gathering as much information about an issue. Parang i-compare mo siya sa ibang ganito po na so far, naka-move on naman po, ganyan, diba? Empathy, yung parang self mo na nakikinig ka sa kanya, tapos nakaka-relate ka, diba? Yan yung empathy. Then we have the verbal communication skills using the concrete messages and abstract messages. Pag sinabi natin concrete messages, the words are explicit and need no interpretation. The speaker uses nouns instead of pronouns. For example, what health symptoms cause you to come to the hospital today? Or when was the last time you took your antidepressant medication? Concrete questions are clear, direct, and easy to understand. They elicit more accurate responses and avoid the need to go back and rephrase unclear questions which interrupt the flow of the therapeutic interaction. While the abstract messages are unclear patterns of words that often contain figures of speech that are difficult to interpret. They require the listener to interpret what the speaker is asking. For example, a nurse who wants to know why a client was admitted to the unit asks, how did you get here? This is an abstract message. Di ba yung sinasabi sa inyong bawal tayo gumamit ng bakit? Dito. Because it is very vague. Okay? So, pag sinabi natin concrete, hindi na kailangan na interpretation. Kasi malinaw na. Pero si abstract, di ba? Kailangan ng interpretation kasi parang may mga certain questions na parang mapapatanong ka na lang, ano daw? Parang ganon, di ba? That's the abstract message. Okay? Then, we using the therapeutic communication techniques, we have, ayan, ito po yung mga guides. Okay? Marami siya, no? Maraming mga bagay talaga. Hindi naman everything memorize mo to, pero you have to analyze, you have to kailangan, at isipin mo yung tuwing pagkaharap ka sa pasyente, ay ito dapat yung mga ipapakita ko sa pasyente ko. Okay, like accepting, 'di ba? Indicating reception. Broad openings, allowing the client to take the initiative introducing the topic, 'di ba? Hayaan mo na, oh, madami siyang kwento, hayaan mo hanggang magsawa yan, mag-open na yan, 'di ba? Then, consensual validation, searching for mutual understanding, for accord in the meaning of the words. Yan, encouraging, yan. Meron po yan sa, mamaya, sa nabigay ko na 'tong topic na 'to, guys. Nandun yung mga examples. Mas mabilis yung kasi maintindihan kung ano po yun mamaya kasi may rationale pa yun. Ito lang ay brief lang para lang maintindihan nyo agad-agad, no? While on your review. Medyo pasadahan ko na. Then, we have interpreting signals or cues. Okay. Ang dami kasi eh. Kailangan ko lang yun yung mga pasadahan, yung mga dapat yung malaman. Konti na lang. Interpreting signals or cues. We have two types. We have the overt cues and covert cues. Okay? Pag sinabi natin, ano ba itong mga cues na to? It is a verbal or non-verbal messages that signal keywords or issues for the client. For example, di ba? We need to find cues in function of active listening, di ba? For example, sasabihin ng pasyente mo I have a boyfriend when I was younger. Sabi niya, when I was young, yeah, char. Di ba? Sasabihin ng nurse, mayroon kang boyfriend? You had a boyfriend? Reflecting, di ba? Tell me about you and your boyfriend. Encouraging description, di ba? Sa therapon. Ilang taon ka nung nagkaroon ka ng boyfriend? Di ba? So, yan yun, guys. That's the cues. May sasabihin yung pasyente mo, dadagdagan mo lang, may boyfriend ka. Kailan yung unang nagkaroon ka ng boyfriend, di ba? So, yan yung mga cues. So, usually, yung nga sabi ko, overt cues are clear statement of intent such as, I want to die, di ba? The message is clear that the client is thinking of suicide or self-harm. Kumbaga, common sense. Ayan si overt cues. Common sense, di ba? Nagbigay ng video record si ma'am. Anong gagawin sa video record? Syempre, papanoorin, di ba? Hindi yung, hayaan mo, i-view ko na lang para madagdagan doon sa views para alam ni ma'am na nanood ako. No, di ba? Very common sense. Yung, alam mo yung tinanong mo yung sarili mo pero sinasagot mo din yung sarili mo. Parang ganun ang overt cues. While covert cues are very vague or hidden messages that need interpretation and exploration. Para lang siya kanina nung una, di ba? Na yung non-verbal communication, naalala niyo, di ba? Vague. Kailangan ng interpretation para maintindihan mo. Okay? So, next we have, in other words, pattern that need further clarification for meaning include metaphors, proverbs, and cliches. When a client uses these figures of speech, the nurse must follow up with questions to clarify what the client is trying to say. Usually, sa mga pasyente po kasi na psych, may mga sinasabi na nandun na yung keyword pero gusto mong linawin, di ba? So, ito po yung mga yun. Metaphor is a phrase that describes an object or situation by comparing it to something else familiar. Kumbaga, di ba, ito yung mga kaugalian ng mga writers. Yung madami silang sinasabing phrase, pero may isa lang pala na ibig sabihin. Parang gano'n, di ba? Sasabihin ng patient sa'yo, my son's bedroom looks like a bomb went off. Ano bomb went off? Di ba? So, ikaw interpret mo, you're saying your son is not very neat. Kasi nga, bomb went off, di ba? Para nabombahan daw ang kwarto, di ba? So, yan yung metaphor. Yung may sasabihin siya, pero iba yung tinutukoy, pero as a nurse, you have to simplify and verify, di ba? Then, proverbs are all accepted sayings with generally accepted meanings. For example, people who live in glass houses shouldn't throw stones. usually interpretation ni nurse. Who do you believe is criticizing you but actually has similar problems? Diba? Galing naman ni nurse na ano yun. Parang ako hindi ko pa na appreciate kung ano yung sinabi ng pasyente ko, okay? Then glitch or click is an expression that has become trite and generally conveys a stereotype. For example, if a client says she has more guts than brains, the implication is that the speaker thinks the woman to whom he or she refers is not smart, acts before thinking, or has no common sense. The nurse can clarify what the client means by saying, "Give me one example of how you see Mary as having more guts than brains." Diba? Focusing, yan yon. Expression that has become trite and generally conveys a stereotype. Okay? Ang dami yung ano, tapos ang dami din, no, medyo nakakalito yung glitch na yan. Then next, we have, dami pa. We have non-verbal communication skills. Okay, pag sinabi natin non-verbal ulit, paulit-ulit na lang, no? Behavior that person exhibits while delivering verbal content with facial expression, eye contact, space, time, boundaries, and body movements. Okay? So, kanina, sinap and hold, di ba, no 19, ano yun kanina, about the 5 kinds of touch, di ba? In the year of 1980, in the year of 2002, list the ways in which nonverbal messages accompany verbal messages. For example, the accent, usually the using flashing eyes or hand movement. Accent daw yan. Accent. How about compliment? Giving physical looks, nodding. Yes, nonverbal, di ba? Contradict, rolling eyes, demonstrate that the meaning is the opposite. Di ba? Ginagalaw mo yung mata mo. Regulate. Okay, taking a deep breath to demonstrate readiness to speak. Di ba yung pag kinakabahan ka, di ba? Parang sa RETDEM, regulate kayo guys. Kasi nga, di ba? Yan yung regulate. And then repeat using nonverbal behaviors to augment the verbal message such as struggling after saying, who knows? Di ba? Who knows? Usually. Di ba? Substitute using culturally determined body movement that stand in for words such as pumping the arm up and down with a closed fist to indicate success. Okay? Then the means of nonverbal communication, we have the physical appearance including adornment. Okay, ano po ibig sabihin yan? Personal appearance, body shape, size, hairstyles, clothing, adornment are sometimes rich sources of information about the person. Kasi pag madungis ka, ganun din yung parang kinaugalihan mo, di ba? Pag dugyot, kaya mga kusot-kusot ang uniform, ay ganito yung sa bahay nila, okay? Hindi to organized, kumbaga. Pero pag sinabi yung posture and gait, yan, yung paano yung kanyang katayuan. Okay, then the facial expressions. Ano ang facial expression ng patient mo, di ba? Di ba pag ganyan, usually in pain, di ba? Eye contact, kasi pag titingin ka sa mata niya, di ba usually, saan sa pumupunta yung mata kasi hindi makafocus. Body movements and gestures, di ba? Touch, tone of voice, symbols. Ano ba ang symbols? Medyo, ano na kasi, explainable na yung iba. Pag sinabi nating symbols, guys, sign that represents an idea means male and means female, di ba? Signals is a sign to give instruction or warning. The patient puts on the signal light when he wishes to call a nurse, traffic signals, etc. Then, facial expression, body language, and closed body position. Okay? Ito guys, closed body position, meron yung naka-4, di ba? Meron yung magkatapat kayo, tawag dito, parang ano lang guys. Yung close body position kasi we have two kinds. We have close body position, accepting body. Pag close body position, parang maldita. Maldita yung dating, ay, di ba? Ang arte naman nito, di ba? Ganun na agad ang kanyang impression. Pero pag accepting body, both of you is facing each other, and then, nag-eye contact, ayan yung accepting body. Okay? Then we have the vocal cues are non-verbal sound signals transmitted along with the content, the voice volume. Di ba? Mapapansin nyo kasi guys, sa voice, kung galit, tagpot, masaya, bingi, di ba? Yan yung vocal cues, okay? Galit ka ata, nurse eh. Di ba? Hindi po, ganito talaga boses ko. Nay, okay ka lang. Hindi ako bingi. Ano sinabi mo? Di ba? Okay, so usually yan yung mga vocal cues. Okay, so sabi dyan, yan, nasa speed ako minsan, di ba? Pansin nyo, nagmamadali. Kasi nga gusto kong tapusin yung mga part na to upang hindi tayo ma-behind. Okay, since we have face-to-face and online class. Okay, so wala naman kaibahan. Na kahit na ma-imit ko kayo, still kung tahimik pa rin kayo, ay wala pa rin pong mangyayari. Kaya ganito na po ang ginawa ko. Okay? Para tuloy-tuloy din pag hindi nakakat yung ating klase. And then we have the eye contact. The eyes have been called the mirror of the soul because they often reflect our emotions, diba? Sa mata, nakikita natin kung nagsisinungaling yung tao, diba? Tatatakot. Lahat siya nakikita natin sa mata. Huwag kang magsinungaling. Sabihin mo ang totoo. Diba? Usually ganyan tayo. Kaya may eye contact. And then silence or long pause in communication may indicate many different things, di ba? Usually, nag-iisip yung pasyente, parang may mali ako masabi. Diba? Ano kayong sasabihin ko? Silence, yan. So, kailangan, if you're a nurse, you have to jump in with another question or tries to restate the question differently. Okay? Para masagot po ng ating pasyente. Then, understanding the meaning of the communication is extremely important in accurately identifying the meaning of a message. Think of the difference in the meaning of I'm going to kill you when stated in two different contexts, anger during argument, and when one friend discovers another is planning a surprise party for him or her, di ba? Yan, kailangan linawin natin yung ating komunikasyon. Kasi minsan, pag di natin ayusin yung pagkikitungo natin, minsan, baka mamaya nakakasakit na tayo. Di ba? Meron yung mga taong ganon, mahilig siyang mang-asar. Tinatanggap mo, okay lang. Pero nung ikaw yun na yun ng asar, iba na yung dating sa kanya. Hindi na ako mahal, di ba? Yan yung pag-intindi natin sa understanding. Kaya kailangan pag nagkatatanong tayo, linawin natin. Pag nag-joke tayo, linawin natin. Uy, joke lang yun ha. Huwag kayo nang masar ha. Di ba? That's the understanding the meaning of the communication. And then we have the understanding of context. Okay? Ay, parang mali yung sinabi kanina. Parang ganun na din. Okay? Almost the same, the understanding the communication and context. And then we have the barriers of therapeutic communication. Ano yung mga barriers? Language differences. Diba? For example, Chinese yung tao, hindi ka na marunong Chinese. Nag-English ka, naintindihan niya, pero di mo naintindihan. Kaya you have to bring interpreter. Okay? Or sometimes, let the patient call someone. Okay? Yung alam niya marunong mag-interpret ng kanyang sinasabi. And then the culture differences. For example, lalo na mga American pupunta sa Pilipinas kasi ganito ang ating ang health services, nagkakaroon din sila ng culture shock. As well as in gender, di ba? Sending, receiving, and interpreting messages can vary between men and women. Kaya mas maganda, kung lalaki, lalaki. Kung babae, babae. Kasi minsan, pag lalaki nag-interview sa babae, hindi nakaka-relate. Kung si babae nag-interview sa lalaki, hindi din nakaka-relate. Kaya mas maganda, gender to gender, no? Then the health status, okay? And then developmental level, communicating with children requires the use of different words, di ba? Kasi nga, kung bata, syempre medyo pa-baby ka magsalita. Pero pag matanda na yan, you have to level it to in your questions, di ba? And then the emotion, kailangan maging sensitive tayo sa pinagdadaanan ng pasyente. Hindi dire-diretso yung sinasabi natin, wala ng pananaw, dina-direct mismo dun sa ng pasyente. And then the use of healthcare jargon, okay? Pag gumagamit tayo naman, for example, kailangan nyo po magpa-CBC. Ano yung CBC, nurse? Diba? Huwag po tayong gumamit ng mga medical abbreviation, okay? Kailangan natin linawin sa mga pasyente. CBC po, i-check po nila yung dugo nyo. So, kailangan po pumunta po kayo sa laboratory at ipa-check nyo po. Ipakita nyo lang po itong papel na to, okay? So, don't use any healthcare jargon. Kung gagamit man kayo, you have to explain it to the patient. Okay? Then, nurse-client communication, yan na usually ginawa nyo noon, NPR. Okay? Phases of nurse-client communication, we have the introduction, working, and termination. Remember, di ba? Your introduction is fairly short, expectation clarified, mutual goal set, di ba? Then, working. Yan na yung nagpaplano na kayo. Major portion of the interaction used to accomplish goals and applied in introduction, feedback from client, essential. And then, the termination. Nurse asks if client has questions. Summarizing the topic is another way to indicate closure. Okay, yan po. Yan. Then, yeah, factors affecting nurse-client communication. The many factors pertaining to the nurse influence nurse-client communication include the nurse state of health, home situation, workload, staff relations, past experience as a nurse can all impact the attitude, thinking, concentration, and emotion of the nurse. So, usually guys, kung mga ganito, nakaka-apekto talaga sa communication skills natin pag may pinagdadaanan din tayo. Parang hindi tayo makafocus, gano'n. But kailangan mag-focus tayo. Tapos, in client factors related to the client that must be considered include social factors, religion, family situation, visual ability, hearing ability, speech ability, level of consciousness, language, proficiency, state of illness. So, communication with the healthcare team, we have the oral, shift, written, electronic, ayan. Okay, given na po. Ayan. So, communication with the healthcare team is oral communication. Oral communication takes place among all healthcare team members. Kailangan nag-uusap bago mag-start. Kaya nga may salitang endorsement. Pagdating sa hospital, bago alisin mga dating shift, kailangan pinag-uusapan nyo kung ano yung mga care na dineliver nila at ikaw continue nyo. Shift report, vital to continuity of, ayan, yan na yung sinasagong endorsement. Written, sa chart ng mga pasyente, doon makikita ng nurse din kung ano yung mga ginawang care. And the electronic communication via call or text. Okay? So, that's are the different kind of communication in the healthcare team. So, that's our last explanating of communication. Since ang ating NCP is na-discuss ko na and siguro na-discuss na din sa health sa inyo nun. Okay? So, if may mga question, you can ask me or direct message me kung ano yung ibig sabihin nun. Okay? So, I will send this PowerPoint to you for guide of your review for next week. I hope you understand the topic kasi more on talagang communication, nakakalito, nakakasakit ng ulo. I know that, guys. Okay? So, if you have a question, chat me or direct message me so that I can answer you kung ano mga katanungan na yan. Okay? So, thank you so much once again for your time. Ayan, ongoing din ng klase ni Ma'am. So, I hope you understand everything and you have, I know you will get a great score in fundamentals of nursing since alam ko naman na nag-aaral kayo mabuti. Alam ko naman na grade conscious kayong lahat. So, thank you again. Happy weekends and God bless everyone. Bye. For this only,